Single-digit temperatures in Spokane. School isn't even in session yet, but that won't stop the students at Gonzaga from flooding the kennel to see the last remaining undefeated team in college basketball. The 16-0 Zags, ranked 5th in the nation, welcome rival St. Mary's, which is 15-1, ranked 21st and won here a year ago. Dave Pasch, Sean Farnham. Sean, maybe the most anticipated game in college basketball this weekend. Gonzaga undefeated. They've done it because of transfers, freshmen, some holdovers from last year. The main guy lately, Nigel Williams-Goss, who transferred here from Washington.
I think Nigel is one of the key transfers in all of college basketball. Manu Lacan, of course, for Baylor, the other one that you would talk about. But when you look at Nigel and what he's been able to accomplish here at Gonzaga, he's a calming presence in their offense. He's a born leader and had one of the best games really over the last 20 years. Became the 5th player ever to have 35-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus assists. He did that at USF. But for me, the thing that stands out is because of his arrival, it takes pressure off of Josh Perkins. It opens up the floor even that much more for Shemet Karnowski underneath. And the key step for the Gonzaga Bulldogs this year is you can't just key on one guy. They haven't had the same leading scorer in any of their games back-to-back this season.
They're so balanced. Williams-Goss at 15 points per game. Karnowski at 13. You have Josh Perkins at 10. Zach Collins at 10. Jordan Matthews at 10 points per game. As for St. Mary's, they are led by Jock Landale, a junior from Australia, who's the leading rebounder in the West Coast Conference and also averages 18 points per game. Williams-Goss will be picked up by Joe Rayhan. Very important player for the Gales. Good backdoor cut. And the basket for Jonathan Williams.
That is a great opening possession. Design play to extend out in the on-ball screen, and a great job by Nigel Williams-Goss to deliver that pass. St. Mary's was anticipating that he'd continue to drive with his right. Instead, he threw it back with his left.
The matchup to watch here, Karnowski against Landale. Landale backing him down and able to bank it in over him. Pretty move.
His level of improvement from last year to this year might be greater than any player in the country. In fact, he leads the nation right now in player efficiency.
He already surpassed his point total from all of last year, and this is game number 17. There's Matthews with a two-pointer. Another transfer for Gonzaga. He came over from Cal, where he's a big part of the Bears NCAA tournament team last year.
61% of the offense for Gonzaga comes from players that were not playing a year ago.
St. Mary's plays at a very slow pace. They're number 2 in the nation in scoring defense. They are a good defensive team, but that's also reflective of the type of style of basketball they play, as that's batted out of bounds by Fitzner. Gonzaga ball. Randy Bennett's 16th season at St. Mary's. He was the coach of the year in the West Coast Conference when they beat Gonzaga twice during the regular season, but then lost in the WCC tournament. This is only the 3rd time these two teams have met with both teams ranked, and the first time since 2009. Williams-Goss falling away, able to can it. It's 6-2 Zag.
Well, 3 baskets, all from transfers that weren't playing a year ago for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And you're starting to see right now the versatility within their offense, how they can space you out. I'm going to put this in perspective. They gave up 9 points, St. Mary's did, in the first half against Portland. They've already given up 6, and we're not even 2 minutes in the game.
And Fitzner drains a 3. Last year shot better than 40% from out there. It's a St. Mary's team that's not afraid to come into the kennel. Place is rocking. It's a situation where the students aren't in school, but they've been going all day as Matthews rattles home a 3. They opened up the dorms a day early. They weren't supposed to open till tomorrow, but to get the students here, to let them come to the game, they opened up and turned the heat on.
It is an electric environment, as the kids say nowadays. It's lit inside the kennel.
You're one of the kids. I saw you dancing with them in the crowd before the game, 90 minutes prior when they came in here rushing to get seats. First come, first serve for the students. Shot clock at 5. Rayhan, baseline cut off. Rayhan misses the floater. The tip won't go, and it's controlled by Jonathan Williams. Ooh, maybe threw an elbow there trying to keep Landale from stripping it. Again, a great pass by Williams-Goss underneath. Here's Karnowski missing. Good to see Karnowski playing. Last year had a horrific back injury. He could barely walk. He barely could get out of bed. They weren't sure he'd ever play again. And this year he's averaging 13 points, 6 rebounds in his senior season. Williams-Goss, it's good. And the Zags lead it by 6.
Tempo and pacing is exactly where the Bulldogs would want it to be. A beautiful hesitation by Nigel Williams-Goss clears the lane, allows him to finish over the top. But Randy Bennett told us before this game that it was the guards they have to control. And right now, it's the guards of Gonzaga that are controlling this game.
Matthews 5, Williams-Goss with 4. Shot clock down to 3. Here's a three-pointer that's off target, but an offensive rebound for Hermanson. And then a wide open look for Rehan, but he can't bury it. And then a foul on the Gales.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by USAA. Insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community.
Landale, 2 points here early on.
I'll tell you what, if you have not seen this young man play, we call him the Jock. And the Jock is good. Because he has got great hands. He's able to finish. He's the only player averaging better than 17 points and 9 rebounds per game. And you look at his numbers from a season ago, that is plus 10 points per game, plus 6 rebounds per game. And the minutes dramatically have improved. His efficiency and his level to have success. He has 2 20-point games in the last 3 contests. He needs to have an A-level game for them to be successful. That's his one shot attempt we've seen so far.
Played only 14 minutes per game a year ago, averaged 8 points per game. And you knew early on that he was going to make a jump because in his first game against Nevada, he scored 33, and he's averaging 18 per game. 6 of the last 8 West Coast Conference title games have been decided between these two programs. They've built a terrific rivalry here.
Well, no teams, rivalry-wise, since 2008-2009 have played more frequently than these two have. This is the best rivalry on the West Coast. There's a genuine respect, but there's also a genuine amount of we don't really like them and we don't really like them.
And think about it too, Sean. I mean, so often because the West Coast Conference gets one team in that it's usually Gonzaga. So if Gonzaga loses and doesn't win the conference tournament, they usually get the benefit of the doubt and they have a stronger non-conference record. Remember, St. Mary's losing to Gonzaga in the title game last year. It knocked them out of the NCAA tournament.
Well, they should have been an NCAA tournament last year. And I know a lot of the criticism based on the non-conference schedule and not leaving Northern California. You cannot say that this year. They've already got a win at Dayton that I think is going to resonate as the season progresses.
Rehan with his first basket. Zags by 4. 5 minutes gone by. St. Mary's lone loss was to UT Arlington, which actually also has a win over Texas this year. Got a foul here on the Zags. It's on Landale. Second on the Gales.
Defending pick and roll and on-ball screens is going to be key for both teams. In the history of this rivalry, you've often seen Randy Bennett try to match up and mismatch, bring their big Gonzaga Bulldogs big away from the hoop and then look to attack them with smaller players. Gonzaga will do the same thing with their guards.
Here's Williams, an open look. Way off on the three-point try. He had made 10 of 16 threes on the season prior to that attempt. Rehan with an excellent pass. And the swat by Williams, blocking Jock. Williams-Goss knifes into the lane, and he's fouled. 2 free throws coming up for Williams-Goss. From Happy Valley, Oregon. He started out at Washington after being a McDonald's All-American. Considered Harvard, but decided to go to Washington, then transferred here. Landale, by the way, just picked up his second foul. Let's see if he stays in the game.
He's going to have to come out of the game at the moment. At the minutes there, Randy Bennett will not let him stay out on the floor with 2. Staying with Nigel Williams-Goss, though, as Jock goes to the bench and some substitutions come in for Gonzaga. I think impressed me. You mentioned maybe potentially going to Harvard for Nigel Williams-Goss. Well, what he's come here, he's done. He's already graduated in December with a 3.8 GPA. I mean, he's in line to be an academic All-American this year, and has really made the most out of sitting out last year, becoming a better player, becoming a natural leader of this team right away, and then also being a leader inside the classroom as well.
By the way, Jordan Hunter replaces Jock Landale. Hunter averaging less than 2 points per game, doesn't play a lot of minutes, but he's out there in the first half of a huge game as they get a second chance opportunity, and Dane Pinot puts it in.
And Pinot's been a very good rebounder as of late, had more than 10 rebounds in the last 2 games, and a nice job getting in the offensive glass.
Here's freshman Zach Collins, powers his way to the goal, can't finish, and then commits a foul. First on Gonzaga here in the half.
You have to remember, first rivalry game between these two teams for so many of the players for Gonzaga. They've come out, they've been energized, they've been focused, but the freshman that time a little overzealous and a careless foul that far away from the basket.
John, obviously you played in a lot of rivalry games at UCLA. Is it harder sometimes on the home team?
I don't think so. I mean, I loved it either way. Big games bring out the best in everybody, and St. Mary's, their team has experienced a win in this building, so they'll feed off the energy of this crowd just as much as Gonzaga will tonight.
Hermanson knocking down the 3, and it's a 1-point lead for Gonzaga. Williams-Goss comes right back and drains a 3, shooting 42% from behind the arc. Williams-Goss with 9 points. He had a 36-point game a week ago that got him the West Coast Conference Player of the Week award. Rehan out to Nar, thought about the deep 3, now drives and gets the bounce.
Well, one of the things St. Mary's perimeter players do so well, they utilize shot fakes and pass fakes. And if they can get you to elevate out of your stance for a second, they're very good at attacking aggressively.
Another St. Mary's foul, 4th team foul on the Gales.
And not a surprise with these two teams that are so efficient offensively that you would see good quality shots, even though both of them have their strengths at the defensive end. Nigel Williams-Goss with the answer of the 3, and then a little shot fake, get a piece of the paint, and soft touch off the rim.
Oh, what a move by Perkins, getting rid of the defender, Hermanson, and then burying the jumper. Sweet move by Josh Perkins. Gonzaga 16-0, ranked 5th in the country, the last unbeaten team in college basketball, with Baylor going down earlier this week. Hermanson's 3, got it! And a 4-point chance. Foul on Perkins.
Hermanson must think he's still in Portland. The native of Oregon had himself an outstanding game last time out, 27 points, had 5 made threes. This is his second made three-pointer of the game, and actually gives him an opportunity for a 4-point play.
Plus, he's got the best look of anybody on the floor.
If you say so.
That's how I roll at the Y, Sean. Goggles, headband.
I could see that. You get done calling an Arizona Cardinals game, you just go play some pickup ball with a headband and some goggles. It's a good look for you, Mr. Pash.
Of course, I don't have the hair that Calvin does. Great pass again by Williams-Goss as Collins had the defender on his hip.
This is fun. I mean, this is high-level basketball. This is why, you know, ESPN.com wrote the game, best games of the weekend. They labeled this one the best game because of the significance, because of the rivalry, but also because of the quality of these two teams.
Got 2 ranked teams, a combined 31-1 record in the season between the two. Arizona, a team that lost to Gonzaga. We've seen how good they are. Gonzaga beat Florida, Tennessee. Their closest game was Iowa State. One on the shot clock. Oh, Vern Harris calls a foul on the freshman Collins. That's his second personal. With 1 on the shot clock, 30 feet away from the rim. It was going to be a turnover because Hunter had no idea how much time was on the shot clock. Well, Gonzaga's won 9 of the last 11 meetings, but was swept by St. Mary's a year ago. On January 21st of last season, St. Mary's comes back from 15 down to win by 3. And then the Gales won by 5 here in Spokane, but lost in the most important meeting of the season. That would be the West Coast Conference Championship game, where Gonzaga beat them 85-75. Kyle Wilcher with a deep 3. St. Mary's went to the NIT, Gonzaga to the NCAA tournament, eventually to the Sweet 16. Mark Few's been to the tournament every year. Went to the Elite 8 2 years ago. Randy Bennett has been to the NCAA tournament 5 times. And neither team is disappointed so far in this game. Gonzaga shooting 67%. St. Mary's at 50% from the floor. And the Zags lead by 2.
You look back to the last year, and it's unfathomable for me to think of a team like St. Mary's that could come in here and sweep them in the regular season and win a game here and not make the NCAA tournament. And there's a lot of teams that got in the NCAA tournament, and one in particular out of the SEC and Vanderbilt, that if you line them up and had them play against each other, the Gales are going to win that matchup.
Good pass down low, got the defender off his feet, and Pinot able to put it in.
Dane Pinot has really good hands and a nice job squaring his shoulders so he can grab the ball quickly and finish before the length can disrupt him.
And he never misses. He shoots 65%. 3 ball on target for Jordan Matthews. Boy, the Cal Bears miss him. He was important for them. He's 3 of 3 tonight, 2 of 2 from 3.
You and I were talking about Gerard Bird probably misses him more than any player in the country. He was such a difference maker in opening up lanes, and he's found his shot and he's found his rhythm as of late in this offense.
Williams-Goss, an open look. Too strong on the 3. Good hustle by Karnowski to save it on this end for Gonzaga. And again, Jock Landale, the best player on St. Mary's, has been on the bench with 2 fouls for the last 4 minutes. And St. Mary's is only down 3 in this ball game at the midway point of the first half. Krebs puts it on the floor, 2 on the shot clock, gets it to go.
It really doesn't matter who plays point guard for St. Mary's. They all seem to do the same thing. They're just really good in the pick and roll situation, finding the spot and then settling and knocking down that shot or delivering a good pass.
I mean this with all due respect. They all look like Matthew Dellavedova. They all played the same way when he was here.
The international flavor is very much so still alive for St. Mary's. In fact, the 2 guys that they've already signed that are coming in to next year are both from overseas, one from Australia. But there is that consistency in style of play. And when you, as a head coach, have a clear style of play, it allows for consistency from year in and year out.
They have 4 players on their roster from Australia. The guy who just made that shot's from San Diego. Evan Fitzner, 6'10 sophomore, has hit a couple 3s, and he gives St. Mary's a 2-point lead.
He's had some good games against Gonzaga in the past. He's off to a good start here tonight. Remember, they hit 20 in their win at home a season ago.
Williams-Goss denied by Rayhan. And the Gales looking to push tempo here, something they don't do very well. Karnowski trying to defend Pinot. They go back to him. Boy, so hard to get around the 300-pounder, but Pinot does, and it's a 7-0 Gales run.
So the key is, with Karnowski defending you, he walls up defensively. He very rarely leaves his feet, plays extremely well with his size.
A turnover by Gonzaga.
So if you're posting him up, you've got to use your quickness and athleticism.
Fitzner way off on the 3. Excellent save, though, by Pinot. Hermanson misses. Batted around. Silas Melson has it for Gonzaga. Nelson has had an excellent season so far. Started a few games, but provides a spark off the bench. They need it here. Where's the offense right now for Gonzaga? They go to Williams on the low block, and boy, did he get up on that shot.
He is extremely talented, and you look at a guy that rarely misses. You mentioned Pinot's numbers. I think you could put Jonathan Williams in that same boat in category. He's going to have a game where he has over 20. It just hasn't happened yet.
Transfer from Missouri, averages 9 points per game. But again, you have to sacrifice scoring when you come to this team. They have such great balance offensively. Shot clock down to 5 again. Pinot against Karnowski. That's a travel. Karnowski has blood all over his shirt. They have to look at that during the break. His entire shirt covered in blood as Williams-Goss hits it blocked. St. Mary's by 2.
Yeah. The ability to run out, the ability to score in the paint. It's an impressive start for the Gales from Moraga.
Trying to save a ball. He had blood literally all over his shirt. They finally took care of it during the timeout.
Well, you look at the hustle, and Shemek Karnowski, as you mentioned, had the back injury last year, but boy, has he played well so far in conference play, averaging over 15 points, shooting 73% from the floor. And you take a look at that jersey.
That's a rivalry shirt right there. Right?
Exactly. I mean, that's what this game is. And look, if you've never come up to Spokane, Washington, and you love college basketball, I don't care if you're a fan of Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, Carolina, Indiana, it doesn't matter. You need to make a trip to the Kennel and just experience this once.
Stay at the Davenport, come to the Kennel.
May I recommend the spicy shrimp flatbread if you stay at the Davenport. It is outstanding. And tell Jen, who's back there at the Safari Lounge, I'll be there as soon as the game's over.
Williams underneath. Another terrific athletic move by Jonathan Williams to tie the game at 27 at the 7-minute mark.
And balanced 6 points now for Jonathan Williams, 8 for Jordan Matthews, 9 for Nigel Williams-Goss. It's the versatility within the lineup. You take away one, they'll find somebody else.
Karnowski tried to block Pinot and commits the foul. That is his first and the 4th on Gonzaga.
You know, Jock Landale went out and Dane Pinot came in, and he has been a difference maker in this game. Already 6 points. He's grabbed 3 rebounds, 2 of those at the offensive end of the floor. His speed is bothering Shemek Karnowski.
Again, it speaks to, you talked about it earlier, it's a really good team, St. Mary's. Their best player goes out and they actually take the lead. And they bring in Jordan Hunter again. Hunter's barely played. And he's playing a ton of minutes in the first half of their biggest game of the season. And he's holding his own. Second free throw is good for Pinot. It's a 1-point game.
Well, we talk about the defense. Both these teams have very good defenses, but the offenses are in such a rhythm, which shouldn't be a surprise. 4th and 11th best offensive efficiency numbers in the country.
Excellent hands by Rayhan breaking up the pass. Emmett Nahr, one of the Australians on this roster for St. Mary's, 1 of 4. Rayhan, a transfer from Boston College, was the newcomer of the year last year in the conference. He drives here on 2 defenders. Shot clock down to 5. Nahr into the paint. And it's blocked by Nelson. And a shot clock violation.
Great defense that time by Gonzaga. I thought he had already gained possession before the shot clock went off, which would have been key and better for Gonzaga because they would have had an opportunity to run in transition. Instead, now with the ball going out of bounds, it allows St. Mary's to set up their defense.
Inside 6 minutes to go here in the first half. The Gales by 1. Gonzaga got off to a hot start, but lately St. Mary's has kept this crowd quiet. That'll get him going, though. Perkins makes the shot and then actually calls to the bench. He's hobbling back down the leg there.
Yeah, I think it's his right leg, though, to be honest with you, and they're going to try to get him out of here as fast as possible.
That would be a huge loss. Wow, what a play that time by Hunter to hang and score. Now they get the timeout as Perkins going to go back to the locker room.
Yeah, he's not even stopping at the bench.
Well, you pointed out, Sean, you pointed right away to Perkins. As soon as he made the basket, he looked right to the bench as if to say, get me out.
Well, you see everything's looking good here, and then a little hesitation as he landed. He landed awkwardly and immediately started calling for the bench. And I don't want to guess what's going on with him, but I'll try to get an update as fast as we possibly can. But with him being back in the locker room, it might be a while until we find out exactly what's going on.
And Perkins, a 10-point-per-game scorer. He's one of their best 3-point shooters as Melson drives, gets high up in the air, lays it in off glass.
Well, he's the spark guy for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. He's had some really big games. Perkins was out earlier this year. And Nelson had himself a game. Now, he's a really good perimeter defensive player, but his ability to drive impresses me.
So Karnowski is out. They're trying to back down Collins, who's a little bit thinner. Offensive rebound for Pinot. That's one of the factors of not having Karnowski in the game right now. And they get a layup with Nar cutting to the rim. The Gales back up 1. They don't get back on defense, though. That's a rarity, and Matthews makes them pay. Jordan Matthews, 4 of 4 from the floor, 3 of 3 from behind the arc.
If you don't know where Jordan Matthews is in transition, you're giving up 3 points.
Matthews is at 43 threes on the season. A steal by Nelson, 2-on-1. Williams all the way for the hammer dunk. Here comes the trap. Rayhan has to call a timeout.
You think this game matters a little bit? Jonathan Williams' first taste of the rivalry game. And I think he's feeling pretty good about it right now. It's defense leading to offense. The transfer from Missouri says, hey, I want to welcome myself to the rivalry. Here we go. The Bulldogs on a run, up 4. Yet, I think when you look at the totality of resumes, I mean, if you're talking this, they're undefeated, and that should account for something. But even Baylor has 3 wins against teams that were ranked in the top 10. And the loss that they had, you know, okay, fine, you look at go, you lost on the road. It's conference play. It's a top 10 team. Yeah. And it's a team in West Virginia that is so good at creating turnovers and points off of those turnovers. I don't think you dock them. It's like docking Villanova for their 1 loss on the road against Butler. Well, guess what? Butler just beat Xavier today, another top 15 quality team at home. And college basketball is really tight. It's a great season. And for football fans that are just tuning in, you've missed an awful lot already. But there's still plenty of time to catch up on great basketball. And today was a clear example of that across the country.
There's a shot clock violation by St. Mary's. They had only 11 to shoot out of the timeout. So 4-point lead for Gonzaga. Matthews puts it on the floor, leans in, and gets it back out to Nelson. And Nelson hits again. It's a 6-point lead. Gonzaga on a 7-0 run.
And Perkins back out on the bench. The guy that replaced him back in the scoring column once again.
You talked about overall resume. Baylor beating Oregon earlier in the year, although the Oregon team then is not the Oregon team today. And you look at, again, a win over Arizona. Arizona's playing great right now. A win over Florida. They've beaten Tennessee, Iowa State, Washington. Okay, Washington's struggling, but you beat St. Mary's. I think you can make a case. They may not be #1 in the polls. I think you can make a case, though, that they should be.
Well, you can make an argument for it. There's no question you can make an argument for it. I just don't think they're going to be #1. Kansas will be #1 when the poll comes out on Monday.
To make the case, obviously, for UCLA. Big win today at Utah. Their only loss was at Oregon on a last-second 3-point shot.
Boy, Lonzo Ball, another huge game. 17 points, 8 assists, 5 steals.
Baseline cut off for Nar. Jock Landale still on the bench with 2 fouls. Terrific play by Collins to get the block. A travel happened prior to that. So a turnover by St. Mary's. But just the fact that Gales are hanging in there down only 6. They actually had the lead for a while with Landale on the bench, their best player, who's been on the bench for the last 11 minutes of game time with 2 personal fouls.
Now this discussion of #1. You know what's no discussion? UConn is #1 on the women's side. 91 consecutive victories. That is absolutely phenomenal.
Collins with a 3-point chance. Zach Collins, who leads the conference in field goal percentage, got great position. Freshman from Las Vegas, as Pinot picks up his first foul.
He's got a great base to him as a freshman. A lot of times you see freshman bigs, and they're not able to carve out space and finish. Zach Collins can maintain position, even with a defense applying pressure from behind.
And Collins with a three-point play. At what point, if you're Randy Bennett, do you put Landale back in? He only has 2 fouls. You're down 9. It's the largest deficit of the game.
Well, you've kept him out so long now, I think you just probably ride the final 2 minutes and you don't bring him back in the game.
What if you're down 15 because of it, though? Batted around after the miss by Rayhan. They keep it alive. It never hit the rim, so the shot clock at 9. Another miss, this one by Nar, and a clear by Collins. And then a bad pass by Williams-Goss. Even if Williams could jump 18 feet, he wouldn't have been able to get that one.
Last time I checked, it was only 17 feet that he could jump, so you're right.
I think he got up about 17 on that dunk.
You know, I think Randy Bennett should bring back Jock Landale. I just don't think he's going to. And if I was going to bring him back, I would have brought him back on that out-of-bounds play right there. With 1:44 left to go, you've got to have faith and trust that he's not going to pick up his 3rd personal foul.
And it's such a critical time with the chance to get momentum going into the locker room. 90 seconds to go. It's the largest lead of the night for Gonzaga. What a play by Williams, stuffing Fitzner. He didn't have to jump very high for that. Just stuck his arm up. Knocked it away. Here's Collins again. Going right at Pinot. And scores to make it an 11-point lead.
There's a prime example of what I'm talking about. Just so strong, so physical. Those hours at Bishop Gorman High School in Vegas, going against Steven Zimmerman, who's now in the NBA. Chance Jeter, who's playing for Duke. It just pays off. He got a lot of exposure against top-tier talent in high school, and it's allowed him to transition so smoothly here.
Rayhan with a basket, but St. Mary's defensively is getting killed on the low block right now. Williams-Goss will take the jumper. It's short. Rebounded by Krebs. About a 3-second difference between game and shot clocks here at the end of the first half. Zags by 9.
The Zags shooting 67% from the floor so far here in the first half.
They have 10 assists.
They already have 10 more points than Portland did in 40 minutes the other night against the Gales.
Shot clock at 4. Rayhan driving. Rejected. Williams-Goss has it. 3 seconds left. Matthews with 1-4-3. Too strong. His only miss of the first half. He thought it was on target.
That was a tremendous first half by the Gonzaga Bulldogs. St. Mary's was hanging with them. Pinot came off the bench and gave them incredible minutes when Landale went to the bench. But defensively, their awareness, their rotation, a great block by Collins, who has played huge minutes and huge production so far. Things are fired up here at the Kennel.
Gonzaga trying to get to 17-0. The only unbeaten team left in college basketball. 43-34, the Zags lead. Time now for the Land Rover halftime report. Doug Kazarian in the studio. Why wouldn't you put him back in with 3-4 minutes left? The students shaking the kennel as Gonzaga looks to remain the only unbeaten team in college basketball. They have the longest win streak in the country, 16-0, and they have a 9-point lead as we get ready for the second half. Dave Pash and Sean Farnham. Sean, how comfortable are you right now? If you're Gonzaga, you shot the lights out almost 70%. But the best player for St. Mary's is only in the game for 6 minutes because of foul trouble.
Well, I think there's a couple things that would make me feel good if I'm Gonzaga. In particular, they are a second-half team. They are a better second-half team than they are a first-half team, in particular as of late. So I think that bodes well for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. I think for St. Mary's, you look up, though, and say, you know what? They played as well as they possibly could play. We're only down 9, and our best player wasn't on the floor. So if they can get back to their defensive roots, maybe string together some stops, it would put them in a position where they could come back from this 9-point deficit.
As St. Mary's comes in, one of the best teams in the country defensively. Gonzaga shot terrific from 2-point land, from 3-point land. And again, Jock Landale was only on the floor for 6 minutes. How about the balanced scoring? for Gonzaga in that first half.
It's what makes this team so unique and so dangerous is that on any given night, other players can step up. Matthews had the big first half. His only miss was the one at the buzzer at the half, but 11 points for him. Nigel Williams-Goss, he got going early. He has 9 points to go along with his 4 assists. And then Jonathan Williams, his first attempt at the rivalry game, 4 of 5 shooting. And then Collins off the bench. Again, I'm so impressed with this young man and his ability to maintain his position underneath, his enthusiasm in which he brings to the court. A big first half for him.
Over the last 3 years, there have been 2 teams to go through the regular season and the conference tournament undefeated. Wichita State in 2014, Kentucky in 2015. Gonzaga trying to do it as well. Of course, a long way to go. They still have to go to St. Mary's on Feb 11. They have to go to BYU.
I think it's worth pointing out that first half, as great as Gonzaga was, Shemek Karnowski had only 1 shot attempt. Only 1 shot attempt and did not score in the first half.
And also one of the best players for Gonzaga, Josh Perkins, has been out of the lineup for the last 7 or 8 minutes due to injury. Silas Melson, who just hit that shot starting the second half.
Now, I did talk to Gonzaga during halftime. They said he is likely to return. He's not starting the second half. We'll see if they bring him actually back onto the court. It was a leg injury. They're not specific. And that's not unusual for a lot of colleges. They protect the players when they get hurt.
Gonzaga with its largest lead of the night at 12 points. Karnowski, no. Still looking for his first basket, as you pointed out, just his second shot attempt of the game. Landale is starting the second half, played just 6 minutes, had 2 points. He averages 18 per game. They go to him here on the low block against Karnowski. He faces up and connects on the jumper.
Do you just see the patience, though? A lot of bigs, when they catch the ball, they want to put it down right away. He allowed the cut to go through off the wing to create space, and then understanding that gap, turn and face and elevate up over the top.
We talked with Randy Bennett before the game, and you asked him, are you surprised at the jump? And he said, not really. We thought the potential was there. He can say that, but I mean, when a guy averages 8 per game and he's averaging 18 the next year, as a foul is called, no basket, Nelson picking up the personal, you got to be a little surprised, right?
No, again, a jump, one thing, leading the nation in player efficiency, a completely different thing, and that's what Jock Landale has been able to do so far this season. A couple of 20-point games. Very good defensive rebounder. They missed him a lot in the first half.
Yeah, if they're going to win tonight, he's going to have big numbers here in the second half. Karnowski called for the foul on the reach-in. Now that's his second foul. Second on Gonzaga here in the half. It's a 93rd meeting between these two teams. It's a terrific rivalry. In fact, Gonzaga fans so look forward to playing St. Mary's. There was a game last year where they showed up for a game. The problem was Gonzaga was playing Mount St. Mary's. All the Zag fans thought they were playing St. Mary's. They showed up with their anti-Gale signs and everything, but they were playing the wrong school.
Maybe some ill-advised passion.
Great hands by Pinot. And then a foul. Third team foul, and they get Nelson again, his second personal.
That was created, though, because of the hands by Pinot in defensive transition. Mark Few telling his team that they've got to settle it down a little bit. You've got a lead. You've got a good tempo and flow coming out of the first half. You just have to maintain it. There's not going to be one possession that's going to put St. Mary's away. They're going to continue to fight.
Hey, Gonzaga had a 15-point lead in a meeting with them last year. Now, that was on the road, but St. Mary's came back to win that game. Boy, Pinot thought about taking the 3. He's attempted 5 this year, made 2. Instead, it's Hermanson for 3. Too strong, but there's Landale with the putback.
And just a difference maker with his length and ability to quick jump off the offensive rebound. What I mean by that is as he comes down, he's off the floor really quick.
Karnowski into the paint, goes to the left. No, Landale with the rebound, and almost another foul on Karnowski. St. Mary's comes in ranked 21st in the country. Only 1 loss on the season, and again, Landale starting to take over here.
Well, they're going to need it. I think Gonzaga is going to have to figure it out how they're going to defend Jock Landale, because He has been outstanding to start this second half. 6 very quick points for him.
And his team within 6. 3.5 minutes gone by. It was a 12-point lead just a couple minutes ago for Gonzaga. That's off of St. Mary's. 12 to shoot for the Bulldogs.
Great job by Randy Bennett, though, to re-engage Jock Landale, and you can see how they're trying to play through him here in the early portion of the second half. A lot of times when a player sits on the bench for as long as he does, they struggle.
There's Karnowski going at Landale, trying to get Landale his 3rd foul, and that's the first field goal for Karnowski. Rahan with a terrific shot off the window. Here's Williams-Goss for 3, off the mark. But there's Williams with the rebound, and now Matthews fires. And Karnowski called for his 3rd foul.
Well, the game has gotten tight. It's a 6-point lead for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, but during this timeout, they're going to have to talk about number 34 in blue. How do you slow him down? In the first half, he was in foul trouble. In the second half, he's in rhythm, and the Gales have some life here in Spokane. Next possession, they ran that exact same play. The defense hugged Jock Landale and gave up a wide open layup. So even though he doesn't get credit for it, it's because of his hot play that has opened up the offense to now be more free-flowing for the Gales.
And Zach Collins is in, defending. Nice block by Williams. You have Collins in there for Karnowski, who picked up his 3rd foul prior to the break. He got beat that time, but excellent defense by the secondary man, Williams, to come over and block the shot. Williams-Goss backing down his man. Can't get the bounce, and the tip won't go either. Boy, the offense we're watching, I don't know if it's just me, Sean, but it has an NBA feel. There's a lot of isolation, a lot of back down. We've seen the big just backing down his man a lot here tonight.
And a lot of versatility within the players that are on the floor right now, in particular with Karnowski to the bench. Collins can step out to 3, Williams can step out to 3, and Landale just scores.
Terrific individual move that time. A 12-2 run by the Gales, who are back within 4. Where's the offensive answer going to come now from the Zags?
Well, I think you still want to get something going towards the basket. I would look for Zach Collins.
And how much do they miss Josh Perkins right now? Again, you were told at the half, should return, and he will at the next dead ball. Shot clock at 5. Again, the back down. It's Williams into the lane. Just rises over the defender and hooks it home.
You see him make a move like that, you wonder, okay, why can't you do this every single time you touch the ball? Because there's not anybody that's going to block that shot.
50-44, 6 minutes gone by in the second half. The only undefeated record in college basketball on the line. Gonzaga 16-0. St. Mary's 15-1. This is going to be a foul on Williams, his first. The Gales have yet to commit a foul in the first half, or the second half rather. The Bulldogs have 5, and there's Perkins coming back into the game. Played 10 minutes in the first half before that leg injury, or apparent leg injury.
Very efficient first half, hasn't missed a shot in the game, and the combination of him and Nigel Williams-Goss out on the floor gives you really 2 point guards that you can play through in setting up your offense.
Let's see if that gets them going here. They have just 7 points in 6 minutes in the second half. Rahan rejected by Williams.
Come on.
How about the ups by Williams?
Just a great job recovering. He gets beat over the top on the screen in the switch, but still able to elevate and deflect that ball out of bounds. It's a great block shot, but remember this, the Gales still have possession and have 20 seconds left on the shot clock.
Landale calling for it. Collins is fronting him. And they got Williams defending backside in case they make the pass over the top. Shot clock at 5. Landale, another great move. He can't get the bounce, though. And the offensive rebound, the putback won't go for Krebs. Out of bounds off the Zags. So they're going to get 4 chances here on this one sequence.
There's some good defense there by Gonzaga, but they're not finishing the possession with the rebound. You can play great defense, you can force them into low-quality shots, but you've got to get the rebound, or you can just create good defense like that by Nigel Williams-Goss and have it deflected out of bounds.
Rehan touched it last, trying to corral it. Gonzaga off to its best start in program history. Prior to this, their best start was 11-0 back in 1944. Think of all the great teams that Mark Few has had in his 18 years. Record-wise, this is their best beginning to a season. Rehan with a terrific play to step in front. I thought that was off Gonzaga, but they say St. Mary's ball.
Well, you mentioned Mark Few, the all-time winningest active coach in Division I basketball, wins over 81% of his games. I don't win 81% of anything that I do.
Maybe the best attribute about Mark Few, loyalty.
Yep.
In a time where everybody's looking for the next gig in a major conference, as Williams-Goss hits it too. Mark Few, who could have had a lot of jobs in college basketball. Now they've taken pretty good care of him here in Spokane, but he's stuck it out and stayed here, and he's got it rolling.
He's told me from day one when I covered the WCC my first year at ESPN 7 years ago, he said, you know what, Sean, makes this program special? The community. And it's these fans, it's these students, it's the administration. This is a special place for college basketball. It's rare to have a building like this, an atmosphere like this, a community that supports them as much as you see within Spokane for this Gonzaga Bulldog program. It's why they can recruit at the level they recruit at and why they have the success that they've been able to maintain every single year.
And not that you would begrudge him for leaving if he got a better opportunity. It's everybody's right. We see it so often in sports, but I just think it's remarkable that he stayed this long.
When it's all said and done, there's going to be a statue out in front of this building, and it's going to be Mark Few.
Might be there before it's all said and done for Mark Few. Timer down to 5. Pinot for 3. St. Mary's back within 5.
You knew the Gales weren't going to go anywhere. You knew they were going to come out of the locker room with better intensity, and they have executed very well here in the early stages of the second half.
Pinot is 4 of 4 from the floor.
That's going to be a cheap foul again.
There's 3 on Jock Landale. So Karnowski and Landale both with 3 here with 11:41 to go.
Yeah, Landale, though, has gotten himself going offensively, and when he gets going, defense has to stay home, and when they stay home, you get a better quality shot on the outside. We've got a good one here in the kennel.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Liberty stands with you.
I know we're on the other side of the country, but it looks and feels like Syracuse here at Spokane. And speaking of Syracuse, they're part of our Big Monday doubleheader, taking on number 11 North Carolina at 7. Then maybe the new number 1 team in college basketball, Kansas, taking on Iowa State. Carolina today put up 96 points on Florida State. And when it's all said and done, I still think there's a chance they're cutting down the nets.
You know, what I loved about Carolina today is they just pounded Florida State on the glass. They were plus 22 on the glass, and that led to 25 second chance points in that game. I mean, it was really impressive to see Roy Williams' team come out and play the way they did today.
And is this finally the year Kansas doesn't win the Big 12?
No, they're going to win it.
Okay.
They're going to win it.
You got West Virginia and Baylor in the mix, but you got the Hawks, okay?
Until somebody beats them in Allen Fieldhouse. And look, Oklahoma State put up a great fight earlier today.
3-point opportunity for Williams-Goss. Let's see who that foul was on. Landale is still in the game with 3 personals. He was in the area. I'm not sure who they got. Waiting to get the ruling here as to who the foul was on. And they got Rehan for the foul.
Well, Nigel Williams-Goss, so smooth, executing, understanding what his team needs. Last year, when Jonathan Williams and Nigel Williams-Goss were running the second team, there were times at practice that you thought the second team was better than the first team, and that's truly remarkable when you think about all the guys that were on the first team last year for Gonzaga. But a big part of that was leadership.
He transferred from Washington, coming out of high school in Happy Valley, Oregon, as McDonald's All-American. He considered Washington and he turned down Harvard. The terrific student. Shot clock at 4. Krebs now sees it. Can't make it, though. Collins with the clear. Gonzaga by 7. Here's Perkins. And there's the 4th foul on Landale. No ticky-tack call there.
But you have to be smarter.
Right, I was just going to say that.
Like, you have to be smarter. You have 3 fouls. You have dominated the game so far in the second half. You're showing on a ball screen. All right, quick hedge and get back. I mean, he overextended his weight going in the wrong direction. You just have to be smarter.
So he'll go to the bench now.
And that changes the dynamic.
Sure. He got his 2nd foul with about 14 minutes to go in the first half and didn't play the rest of that half. Let's see how conservative Randy Bennett is with him before he puts him back in the game. 10.5 to go on the clock. 7-point lead for the Zags. Williams-Goss banks it home. 15 points to lead all scorers tonight. Gonzaga still shooting 63% from the floor. That was how they beat St. Mary's in the West Coast Conference Tournament Championship last year, shooting over 60% because they couldn't beat them in the regular season, lost both meetings. Pinot punched out of there by Collins. That's 6 blocks now for the Zags. And then out of bounds. It looked like actually it was stripped by his own guy. That Collins knocked it out of the hands of Perkins that time.
Just so impressed. One of the things people go, okay, well, fine, Gonzaga. Can they play on the national level? Can they play with Kansas? Can they play with Villanova? Can they play with the Baylors of the world? Their length in depth is what stands out more than anything to me. We've seen it tonight. Their ability to protect the rim defensively and allow opportunities for their guards to make plays.
So is this the year Gonzaga finally goes to the Final Four? I know so much of it is about matchups, who you play, where you play, how you're playing coming into the NCAA tournament. And they did make it to the Elite 8 2 years ago, but still waiting for that Final Four appearance.
They'll be in Arizona.
You think so?
I think this is a team that's going to be in Arizona.
Why do you say that?
I thought at the beginning of the year, I think now, what do you need in the NCAA tournament? So much of this game is revolving around guards. They've got outstanding collection of guards. You need bigs that are able to be versatile. They have versatile bigs like Collins off the bench. Tilly's better than what he's been performing as of late. But I do think, and Jonathan Williams, as I mentioned, I think he's going to have a game where he's going to get 20. He can have a big night in the NCAA tournament. You've got depth, you've got fouls, you've got good defense, but you've got a very explosive offense.
Who's a team that if they get matched up with in the same bracket might keep them from reaching that goal?
I think if they were if for any reason they were a 2 seed and UCLA and Kentucky were the ones, they would have problems with both those 2 teams.
But as well as Gonzaga scores, though, wouldn't the pace be good for both teams?
The pace would be good, but I think the level in which those 2 teams can score is better.
Too much. Gonzaga comes in with the best point differential in the country, and they're terrific defensive team as well. They've held the Gales to 49 points so far. We're going to have a blocking call here on Nard trying to stop ball. So 3 fouls on the Gales and a half. 7-point Gonzaga lead, side out of bounds. By the way, Bill Vinovich working this game today, one of the officials. He's an NFL referee when he's not doing this. Says he doesn't know yet whether he's working the NFC or AFC championship game. He'll know this week. Nice shot that time by Jordan Matthews. Just flipped it up and in.
Well, you know what I love about working with you is that you're such a man. You're a Renaissance man. You cover everything, so you know everything. And so while we're sitting here, we're talking about this great basketball game. We're previewing this. You're telling me the whole day. You said it from the start. The Falcons were going to beat the Seahawks, and it wasn't even going to be difficult. And you were right.
You said the same thing. You're nice.
No.
To say that on the air.
It was your insight.
3-pointer goes for Hermanson. And a timeout by St. Mary's. 58-52.
Just impressed with St. Mary's, their ability, their resiliency. Jock Landale on the bench again. They don't panic. They just stay within the form, and they stay tight. It's a 6-point game.
That's the current record for Gonzaga. Was one of the kids smart enough to bring a 7 to hoist in case Gonzaga closes this game out. The last remaining unbeaten team in college basketball, and they have a 6-point lead here at home against their rivals, St. Mary's. Karnowski back on the floor with 3 fouls. Jock Landale remains on the bench with 4.
I think we'll see Jock come back onto the court under the 8-minute timeout. I think you've got to bring him back. And his difference as far as what he means to your offense is going to be key, but he's got to be smart.
Tell you what, you nailed it. He's coming in right now. So it may actually be, if there's a whistle prior to the 8-minute timeout, as Williams-Goss gets the basket.
At some point in time, you've just got to have faith and trust that he's going to come in and make the right plays and not foul. But if you're Gonzaga, I think you go right after him at the defensive end.
3-pointer off the mark. Do you think Randy Bennett's sensing that it might be slipping away? That's why he's going back to him. It's a long time to play with 4 fouls. Fitzner can't score. Rebounded by Tillich.
I think what you'll see is spurts out of Jock Landale the rest of the game. I think you bring him in, you take him right back out. Make sure that he's staying mentally on edge.
Tillich almost picked up that pivot foot. Karnowski setting the screen. Here's a 3-point drive from Perkins. Karnowski is there, and he's fouled by Pinot.
What happened is a hard hedge and a hard show on the on-ball screen, and then a late recovery allowed Karnowski to get easy position underneath. But Jock Landale is back. Will he have a run in him?
Gonzaga won 2005, 2009, 11, 13, and 15. St. Mary's won 2010, 2012. Who will take the crown this year? Gonzaga trying to get to 17-0, currently an 8-point lead over St. Mary's.
When you look at this game, one of the things St. Mary's has done extremely well that I think has really helped them in this contest is they have limited the second chance points opportunities. Here's one for Shemek Karnowski at the line, but only 2 offensive rebounds on the night for the Zags, and that shouldn't come as a surprise because St. Mary's has the highest defensive rebounding percentage in all of college basketball. They are a very good defensive rebounding team.
Karnowski not a good free throw shooter, under 60% on the season, but gets the second one. So the lead is 9. Landale is in the game with 4 fouls for St. Mary's, 7.5 to go. Quick fire by Hermanson. Not sure that's what Randy Bennett wanted there.
So quick, I don't think he had identified where the rim was, and his feet and shoulders were not squared.
Karnowski trying to get Landale to foul out. Landale's got to keep his hands down. He keeps reaching in. Out of bounds off.
How about 2 times you could have whistled him for a foul right there. If you're St. Mary's, here's what I would do. I'd double whoever Landale is guarding. Take the pressure off of him and force whoever catches the ball, in this case, Shemek Karnowski, to give it up. But you cannot expose him to a 5th foul.
Just stand there and put your arms up. Don't reach in. Be careful. He got a foul when he hedged earlier, sticking his hip out. Now Williams backing down his man. Williams-Goss. He'll drive, shoots and scores over Landale. Williams-Goss with a game-high 19 points.
When we came and started this broadcast, we mentioned Nigel Williams-Goss and just how talented he is. He can do it in a variety of ways. He doesn't have to score to impact the game, but tonight he has once again assumed control of this offense in the scoring mentality.
The lead is 11 now. Landale, great defense by Karnowski. That's exactly what Landale should have been doing on the other end. Karnowski just stood there with his hands up, and then Pinot picks up his 3rd personal foul. 16th foul on the Gales.
Well, Nigel Williams-Goss, so good. A little shot fake, defensive body, and takes him away from the play. And Nigel Williams-Goss with a great floater over the top.
And the crowd coming alive here. An important time. Can Gonzaga distance itself from St. Mary's here with 6 minutes to go? Williams goes to his offhand, the right hand. Same result, puts it in. It's a 7-0 run.
He is 6 of 7 in the game. I mean, he has just been so efficient, and every move is a confident, quick, and aggressive move.
They got so many weapons on the offensive end. That one spins out. Landale got to be careful. Over the back of Karnowski. Here's Williams-Goss. Nobody picked him up. Now Karnowski drives.
Look at the playmaking ability by the big fella. Every big wants to be a point at some point in time.
Williams tries the jumper this time, too strong. So Gonzaga by 13.
I was hoping Shemek would bring out the old magic where he brings the ball back and then a little finger roll over the top for the big man.
Mark Few was hoping he wouldn't. I know you want to have fun. Mark's trying to win a game here. Pinot can't get it, batted around. Nice save by Hermanson. Landale's got to be aggressive. How aggressive, though, can he be with 4 fouls? Williams-Goss just comes over and strips it. Now Williams ahead of the pack with a catch and finish. And the Gales might be finished. The lead is 15 for Gonzaga with 4:42 remaining.
That was great, by the way.
What's that?
That call right there.
Thanks, man.
That was, I didn't want to say anything.
Thank you. Jonathan Williams, 7 of 9 from the floor. He's had a couple of big breakaway dunks to get this crowd ignited.
Good defense by Nigel Williams-Goss, getting his hands on the ball, and then quickly his eyes are always up the floor. And those eyes tell you there's some passion and some fire. What you didn't see was the elevation and the finish. Equally as impressive.
All right, as you watch Gonzaga here, if they hang on to win this game, any more thought to making them #1? Based on how they've looked tonight, you still think they're not there yet?
You can ask me that question 17 times, partner, and what I'm going to tell you is if I had a vote, Kansas would be my #1 vote coming in. It doesn't diminish the fact that I think this is one of the best teams in college basketball.
I'd put them #1. I think if you win this game, you're unbeaten with the resume they have, the non-conference teams they've beaten, especially Arizona, given how well Arizona is playing right now. Those other teams have a loss. You can make the case Gonzaga's schedule, the games they've played to this point, is equal to those teams. Now, by the end of the year, they'll be able to say they played a tougher schedule because of all the games they have in the major conferences. Karnowski to the left side, puts it in, and the lead is 17.
This one's getting away.
Pinot can't finish, and controlled by Jonathan Williams. The Zags 3:45 away from a perfect 17-0 record. Best start in program history, longest winning streak right now in college basketball, and the only unbeaten team left. Karnowski gives it up and knocked out of bounds. Stripped.
Jonathan Williams was looking for another opportunity to get into the iron, but the second half we saw the Gales make a run. Now it's the Bulldogs out in transition, having fun, igniting the crowd. One of the best environments in the country.
The Bulls and Grizzlies from the FedEx Forum. Memphis will debut its MLK 50 Pride uniforms, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
I'll tell you what, Memphis impressed me in that game at Golden State last week. And the way they were able to execute and win that game on the road, very impressive. They just kind of have Golden State's number.
And David Fizdale, who was an assistant in Miami, now a Coach of the Year candidate in his first year as the head man with the Grizz.
And guess what? Doc Landale's gone.
Yep, just fouled out when he didn't need to. Away from the play, reaching in to Karnowski.
His last 3 fouls have all been careless fouls in this half. I mean, just that he's got to learn, and he's going to have to get better at it. Because otherwise, if I'm an opponent in the WCC or coming up in the NCAA tournament, because I do think St. Mary's is going to be an NCAA tournament team this year, you're going to have to learn how to play when teams are aggressively trying to get you in pick and roll situations, and you're going to show defensively. Either that or Randy Bennett's got to change his coverage in pick and rolls and flat show a little bit and force him just to go east-west and not do a hard show.
They were in the game in the second half early on because he was aggressive. He was able to be aggressive. He was attacking. But it's now a blowout. 19-point lead with 3 minutes to go.
Look at how the offense of St. Mary's is continuing going away from the basket rather going towards the basket. That's good defense.
Yeah. Williams-Goss with another deflection.
Anytime your opponent is taking negative steps and the shot clock is winding down and they're going away from that, that is exactly what you want to have. Extend out your pressure, be aggressive. Gonzaga feeling very confident at that end of the floor right now.
You know, Sean, both you and I had some games of Williams-Goss when he was at Washington. He was a good player then, but you can see that he's taken it to another level now, just his maturity. Another Pac-12 guy, Jordan Matthews, grad transfer from Cal, buries it. 15 straight points for the Bulldogs.
This is impressive. We talk about number one, not number one. Where do they
I'm not going to ask you again. You
okay,
told me.
but
no.
this is a very impressive performance by a team that just flat out is one of the best in the country.
Again, St. Mary's came in with just one loss, ranked 21st in the top 25 for 10 consecutive weeks. They just beat a team by 41 points the other night, held Portland to 9 first-half points. Tonight they've given up 74. They allowed just 57 on the season. Karnowski, boy, has he come alive in the second half.
This is how they can just pick you apart, though. I mean, you just see everybody that goes on the floor can score. Everybody that comes off the bench is ready to go. And the one thing I loved about the Bulldogs today was how loose they were. They were focused at shoot-around, but this was a very loose and relaxed group that was ready to go.
You can see the chemistry. I know we say that a lot, but you know, when you win, chemistry's great. But you know, these guys during the championship game the other night, they huddled together in one of the players' apartments. There was no heat in the apartment. They didn't care. They all huddled up in winter clothing and sat there and watched the game as a team.
Well, now a lot of guys checking in the game that haven't had the opportunity to play tonight. Victory formation for the Gonzaga Bulldogs in what will be an impressive showing by this team and by the student body who came out early and got back.
Yeah, again, school doesn't start till Wednesday. The dorms were not supposed to open till tomorrow, but the school opened the dorms today. The students were able to check in and get to the game. Folks were critical of how quiet it was for the last home game for Gonzaga, but certainly a different atmosphere tonight. Exclamation point for the 7-footer, Zach Collins hitting a three. 25-point lead. Here's Stefan Gonzalez with the floater, gets it to go.
Just overall for me tonight, partner, just so impressive to see the way that the Gonzaga Bulldogs came out, executed defensively, but more so their continued execution offensively, sharing the ball, getting others involved. 4 players in double digits tonight.
Death taxes the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, and Gonzaga atop the West Coast Conference. 17-0. Yep, somebody brought a 7. 17-0. They remain undefeated, the last unbeaten in college basketball. They rout their rivals by 23. And again, they do it with balance. Williams-Goss at 19. Matthews with 16. Williams 14. Karnowski at 9 in the second half. Gonzaga 5-0 in conference play. St. Mary's suffers its second loss of the season, its first loss in the league. And the march towards perhaps an undefeated season continues. Wichita State did it in 2014, going into the NCAA tournament unbeaten. Kentucky did it in 2015. Will the Zags do it in 2017? They still have to go to St. Mary's on Feb 11. Gonzaga 17-0, perhaps its most impressive win yet. And they've beaten Florida, Arizona, and other power conference teams. All right, let's go to Sean, who's standing by with Nigel.
17-0, the only undefeated team in the country, and you just decimated your rival. How does it feel?
Feels good, man. We wanted to send a message. You know, we heard a lot of chatter, about, them potentially coming in here and getting a win, and we wanted to shut that down.
Balance has been the one thing that has stood out to me all season long for this team. How do you guys continue to share the ball as well as you do?
I mean, we just love each other. Honestly, we're a group of brothers. We don't care who gets to shine. We just want to get the W at the end of the day, and I think you see that when we step on the floor.
Are the Gonzaga Bulldogs the #1 team in college basketball?
We're not really worried about that. We're just trying to get better each week. It's a long time to, March Madness, and that's when we want to be playing our best basketball.
He's got a 3.8 for a reason, Dave. He knows how to answer questions.
He turned down Harvard, and he was ready for that one. But you can make the case for Gonzaga as the #1 team in the country. Will they jump all the way from number 5, though? Final score, 79-56. They beat St. Mary's. For Sean Farnham and our entire outstanding crew, I'm Dave Pasch saying so long from Spokane. Now let's send you to the studio. Gonzaga still unbeaten, 17-0.